Welcome back to my show. Today is the day for Iron Man. Now, I've already glued together one of the arms, as you can see here, just to kind of give me a preparation for working on the other arm. And I've already begun some modification to it. See this wrist right here, this hand? I rotated it at the wrist, which is not as easy as it sounds. Most would think that a wrist joint would use a round connection pin, but this kit uses square ones, and that presents a problem when you're trying to rotate a joint. You're stuck at either the neutral position or one of three other 90-degree variations of that position. So before I begin, I'll just tell you the way you modify that is to trim off the corners and file it into a round shape. Now this is made out of the most brittle plastic I have ever had the displeasure of working with. You just look at this plastic wrong and it breaks like glass. But the quality of molding is also not the best, I'm beginning to notice. But right now it's the only commercially available kit of Iron Man that is cheap enough to modify. So with that, tonight I'm going to show you how it's possible actually to modify this kit into having a hand that's firing outwards like so, and complete the lighting circuit for it. And so let me just take a quick break to prepare myself, and then we'll get started. Alright, I've done a little bit of work, not without a price. You gotta be careful with your X-Actos and make sure they don't slip while you are, say, whittling down a piece of armor on an Iron Man kit. I was always taught by my dad to whittle like so. And unfortunately, I whittled a little too hard at one point, and whittled away part of the tip of my thumb. But enough about me. Let's talk about the model. Now, I've taken my little pin vise and drilled a hole, a pilot hole in this, and then I used this drill bit right here. Let's see what size is that. I think it's a 2.8 millimeter drill bit, which is almost big enough for those 3 millimeter LEDs. I didn't even have to chuck this in my my drill press. All I had to do was hold it in my hand and rotate it back and forth as if I were using a pin vise, and it worked like a charm. I drilled straight through it, and then used the edge of the drill like a file, like a reamer, and reamed out that hole a little bit, and it perfectly fits a 3 millimeter LED. Now I'm going to demonstrate this LED. This is really an excellent choice for the Iron Man kit, especially for the hand repulsors. Check that out. That is an extremely bright LED for its size. It's not like a Luxion LED or anything like that, but it is very, very bright, and it's bright from all angles because there is a little let's see if I can get this to focus. If you'll notice there is a dip in the surface of the LED which acts like a lens and allows the light to shine from all angles, basically. But unfortunately, the angles include the back end here. So what I'm going to have to do is paint this, and paint it, probably black first. Well, maybe not. I'll think of something in a minute. But well, actually, you know what? I better just go ahead and paint that black, and I will get back to you in a second. Well, it's painted. The first thing I did was coat it in a coat of black. Then I painted it white. This should be a good light blocker for the most part. It's not going to block 100% of the light, but I'm hoping that the rest of it will be taken care of by this piece right here. See, I fit it on here like so. Come on. Yeah, I forgot the when you paint a piece like that with female sockets in there, it's going to clog them up at least a little bit, and you might end up having to scrape out the holes where the alignment pins have to go. But as you can see here, it's pretty. That's a pretty good seal around there. And so I'm going to leave it like this, and go ahead and glue it. And let's just yeah, here we go. I'll go ahead and glue it now. I'm not really worried about the paint making the glue joints weaker in this case, because if this is just going to hold it semi-permanently, and I'll tell you why. If the joints in here for the wires accidentally break, then I want to be able to pry this off, but I don't want it to be so weak that it will fall off eventually. So having a little bit of paint between your glue and your the pieces you're gluing will work to keep the piece intact until you need to break it. Until you need to break it. Well, now that that's glued on there, I'm going to set about figuring out how I'm going to modify this so that the palm is facing upward. Well, I've got the I have modified the forearm like so. Rather than leave the wrist solid, I realized that in order for this hand to be bent upward as though it's shooting, like so, it has to, the armor plate actually has to curve under. It has to curve under the forearm armor. So in order to fix that, I took my X-Acto knife and first of all I cut open this part here and opened the hole a little wider with my with some snips, and then I just took my X-Acto and trimmed out like so, thinning the armor panel until it was it's almost got a razor sharp edge to it. And if you look here, this plastic is really brittle. I've never worked with any kind of plastic like this before, save for clear plastics. I didn't think that opaque plastic could get this brittle, but apparently whatever they're using, ABS, or I don't think it's styrene, but whatever it is extremely brittle. So while you're working with this, be sure to work slowly, and don't take off too much material at a time, because you may end up taking off parts you'll need. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and glue this now. Let's see here. I think the top is right there, so that the wrist is, and so that the repulsor beam is facing almost parallel with the wrist. This is a prime example of why you want to be careful with this kit. And oh man, I really wish I knew why they chose such brittle plastic to do this. See, I noticed with my when I was looking at the picture on the side of the box, see, I've lost the instructions of this kit, and I noticed that the forearm that I'd used was for the wrong arm. And rather than go about replacing it calmly and professionally, I decided, like a goofball, to just rip it off and replace it with the other one. But that turned out to be a mistake. See this part right here? It still had the pin on there from when I from when I modified it to accept this hand right here. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of carving again on this thing, and I will try to do it without further ruining this part. So again, you're going to have to give me a minute, but I will eventually get these arms together.